you were talking about, or I asked you about taking on Uber. So you're talking about 2010s and things like that, when there was startup boom that happened, and there were these unicorns which came up, and now every government says कि इतने सारे startups हैं, हमारे state में इतने हैं. So there's competition about that. What has been the drivers you feel then, and what are the drivers now for that? And do you feel that you came in at the right time?
Absolutely. I was at the right time, right place. And there's a lot of luck that goes into one's success, right? So I think I really benefited by being born in this generation of India, where we in India of 20, let's say last decade onwards, has demographics in its favor. It has a much larger economy versus 20, 30 years ago. It has stable politics. It has a much more aspirational consumer and a much more growing capital ecosystem, both private equity as well as public markets. All of this is on top of which entrepreneurs like me and others are building, right? So 14 साल पहले 2010 में तो बहुत early था, सब कुछ ही early था. Indian economy was, I think, just had turned $1 trillion or something. And capital was very early. I remember जब मेरे को पहला fundraise किया था मैंने 30 लाख रुपए.
Wow.
30 lakh रुपए, and I thought उसके बाद कभी
So scalability happens very fast in our country.
हाँ, and last 10-15 years have been a crazy period of hockey stick, right?
Yep.
And since then, so today when I see the broadening of the startup ecosystem is a very good thing. 100 unicorns and all. India is genuinely the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, and only growing. And today's young people, मैं तो उतना young रहा नहीं, तो but today's young people are coming up with such bright ideas. And
how did you move from OLA Cabs to electric, and at what stage do you feel I'm bored with this?
Exactly.
I want the next one.
Just
to ride
leaping
on
off
that.
it, आपके थोड़े critics भी यही बोलते हैं that you really shoot for the moon and कभी-कभी you overextend yourself. For example, ये कृत्रिम. You didn't say कि I'll only make a language learning model.
Yes.
जैसे तुम्हारा ये chat GPT है.
Yeah.
You said कि मैं पूरा chain बनाऊंगा.
Yes.
हाँ, so don't you think that you've leveraged yourself too much? Even these big giants, they take, okay, I'll take from Google, I'll take the cloud computing, I'll take Microsoft Azure somewhere else, but then I'll make my own LLM, Meta LLM, जो भी होता है, ठीक है? So they pick and choose so that they don't over leverage themselves. But you have gone the extreme and you said, I'm going to do the whole thing. In that process, do you think the actual core product suffers?
I think that's a good point, Ishan, and you're right. I get asked this question across forums, right? So I want to actually, because here I can elaborate, right? Versus a Q&A on a stage. So, I want to start with my own, why I became an entrepreneur, right? I am a big believer in the concept of dharma and swadharma. And I feel my purpose or my DNA or my capabilities is to truly bring technology, entrepreneurship, business together. That's what I know what to do. That's my locus standi in society, right? And that's what I can contribute in my way. And I genuinely believe our generation has to work that extra hard to really build the country of our dreams, right? And वो फिर उसमें ना कोई limits नहीं है वो सपने में. वो पूरा करना है, एक-एक करके करना है. और क्रिटिक्स होंगे जो बोलेंगे तुम बहुत कुछ कर रहे हो, एंड कभी-कभी वो सही भी होंगे, तो हम अपने आप को थोड़ा पेस करते रहेंगे. बट सपना तो बड़ा है. सपना तो ऐसा होना चाहिए जो एक जिंदगी में पूरा ना हो सके.
Wow.
Yeah. So and वो करने के लिए, so I started my journey with one company which is OLA Cabs. Now OLA Cabs is broadening into a broader consumer ecosystem. My mission with that company is to truly make consumption more accessible to the to 1.5 billion people. For example, we are doing a lot with ONDC there, which is
government marketplace.
The government marketplace, which is going to bring down cost of e-commerce significantly. Most e-commerce platforms take 20-30% commissions from the sellers. Kiranas are left out. The small retailer is left out. ONDC is going to make it a much more democratic ecosystem, which is going to bring down the cost of e-commerce. We're doing a lot of work on supply chains, electric logistics to bring down cost of logistics in the GDP. We're doing a lot of work on warehousing to bring down cost of warehousing. So all of that technology-driven work is to enable the much more efficient, accessible, affordable consumption. So that's the mission statement for Ola Consumer, which is my cabs business. Now, the second company which I set up was Ola Electric.
Yeah.
And the mission statement there is make India the global EV hub, right? Make India use EVs. वो करने के लिए we'll have to build the products India wants, 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, other products, which is more India-centric. And by extension, Global South will use those kind of products. But not limit ourselves to the product. In the end, what will define success in Ola Electric is whether, and the whole EV game is whether we can build a lithium technology in India. So we've backward integrated into the lithium technology. We've created, if I can show to your viewers and to you all, India's cutting edge lithium cell.
Okay.
So I will show you. This is the cell that goes into your TV remote.
Yes.
ठीक है, ये ever ready का cell है.
ये AAA battery.
हाँ, ये AAA battery है.
हमेशा घर में नहीं होता. उसको फिर यूं मारना पड़ता है.
But सस्ता होता है. So now next one आप मुझे बताओ.
This is what this is called a 2170 battery. This is what is used in EVs around the world. This is the state of the art.
Okay.
This is what we have built. This is called a 4680 battery. We call it the Bharat cell.
Okay.
So this is ये lithium cells का 5G है. If I can say it in a very simple way. This is the cutting edge technology जो हमने बनाई है इंडिया में. ग्लोबली भी कुछ ही कंपनीज के पास ये टेक्नोलॉजी कैपेबिलिटी है एंड इसके लिए हमने कोई टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनरशिप नहीं करी है.
I love the design. I don't know much about it, but I like the design.
But it looks standard.
Very cool.
Anode, cathode, simple, ऊपर नीचे,
yes,
you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
What will it go into?
It'll go into vehicles. It'll go into energy storage at home. It'll go into grid energy storage.
Oh, Bhavish, just rewind. So this one is the white one is what is globally sort of the
Standard.
template.
This is the standard today.
Achha.
State of the art today.
और इसमें वो obviously is bigger.
This
fatter.
is 5 times more energy than this.
Right. Okay.
And since one unit has 5 times energy, the cost is lower. This has better fast charging capability. EVs वगैरह में charging speed important है. This has less cobalt, so the cost is lower also.
Okay.
Cells में energy density is a very important paradigm. So इसकी energy density है 250 watt hour per kg.
Okay.
इसकी है 275 watt hour per kg. So that means same weight में ज़्यादा energy. Cost comes down, performance goes up.
Manufacturing, producing. Where are you doing this?
This is so we have almost 1,500, 2,000 acre EV hub in Tamil Nadu.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about.
So it's,
Okay.
we have our automotive factory there. We have our cell giga factory there, and we have many suppliers also there now.
What is the import component on the Bharat cell, the big one?
So इसमें अभी we make the cathode anode ourselves, but not the material which goes into making the cathode anode. So the material comes from outside, some from Japan, some from Korea, some from China, some from Europe.
What is the material?
It's called a cathode active material, anode active material, which itself is a combination of like nickel, cobalt, manganese, or anode is graphite.
Yes.
Yeah. So electrolyte will have different salts.
Okay.
Now India has a very good pharma ecosystem, a pharmaceutical ecosystem,
Yes.
which will be a very good enabler for things like electrolytes. So India का जो traditional chemical industry है, that will actually benefit from cell manufacturing in India. So we are looking to work with the Indian ecosystem to localize the supply chain also, one by one.
So this anode cathode is what China was leading in, and this is where you have come in and sort
Yes.
of made your own.
We've made the anode cathode,
Yeah.
but the anode cathode material still
that
comes
you've
from outside.
imported.
That also is the midstream where China leads in today.
Okay.
So we will have a 3, 4, 5 year journey to localize it step by step. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So this is
You were talking about the Kirana store and all. That's also
Yeah.
interesting. What do you think about Blinkit, Flipkart,
Yeah.
taking on Amazon? How?
Yeah.
Where
He's
are
taking
you
it
going
on with your consumer products
Again,
in a way, है ना?
he's looking at the biggest guys in the
Making-
market.
You're making
and saying,
enemies
okay.
with all the guys.
No, I'm not making enemies with
No, that's
anybody.
fine.
Yeah, I'm
Reach for the sky, as you said.
I believe that the technology is the real force of change, and innovation is the real force for change. And whichever business is really building technologies of the future will get better business models, will get more margins, will get more consumers.
So Flipkart did that to Amazon.
But 10 years ago.
10 years
now
ago.
the technologies of e-commerce have changed since then.
Okay.
For example, ONDC is a new innovation where open marketplaces can reduce cost for every participant in the marketplace. Electric logistics is a very new innovation where electric delivery vehicles, electric trucks, electric tempos can reduce your cost of delivery by 50%.
So your scooty will deliver the product.
Yeah.
And Bhavish also, just coming back, यहाँ पे whatever price you save with this, I hope that our last mile sort of our the actual human capital also in your companies, and in all companies for that matter, the e-commerce companies, we hear really sad stories of
Layoffs.
Zomato drivers also, even for that matter, Ola cab drivers also surviving on not a lot of money. With your price, your output
lot
price
of it needs
coming
to
out.
be passed down to the gig
the
worker.
benefit.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely. I fully agree.
Yeah.
I think again, as a ecosystem between the companies, the government, etc., at state and central levels, we need to actually innovate on how a gig worker can get some kind of social security, some kind of insurance, and India can actually be the trendsetter in this.
Yes.
Because again, the US is in a very corporatized way. Whereas India can do a best of society effort. We are engaging with governments across state and center. And as you save money through technological interventions, part of the profit saving should go to the gig worker, so that more gig workers also come in.
Yes.
They find it more lucrative to work.
But this is where things like regulations will come in. That work hour regulation hona chahiye ki nahi hona chahiye. Diversity issues will come in. These are things which in America exist. Will they come in into India now, or is it time to bring into India?
I think, ma'am, we should think of the future paradigms on these labor regulations, especially in new areas like the gig economy. Some of these things like work hours, etc., are a very industrial factory,
shop floor kind of
shop floor
attitude.
kind of. वहीं से आए थे ना ये सब.
Yes.
40-hour work week or 60-hour, whatever work week was the shop floor paradigm. The gig work is not that. And I think, the Indian ecosystem government has been very thoughtful and forward-looking with whatever regulations have been brought in for gig workers. And we need more. We need some social security net for them in terms of some insurance payouts, some medical insurance, some... so that they feel more
there's security.
There's a safety net for them. That is required, and companies have to contribute in that. And we are actually engaging with different state governments also to help draft some kind of standard policies in this regard. And it's the industry's benefit also. So more gig workers will come in.
Yeah.
Right. As it gets sort of better structured for the gig worker, more gig workers will come in.